You got to have thicker skin, first of all, right? I mean, it's a tough business. It's not easy. Not everyone can do it. Tom could be a testament. I get frustrated all the time. I'm a hothead myself, but I think if you can just take a step back and control your emotions and know that you trust the process, just like we all when we played, right? It's about trusting the process. The proof is in the pudding. If you show up every single day and you're the kind of person that is willing to put in work and get no rewards for months on end when you first start, and then the fruits of your labor start to trickle on, you'll succeed.
We are live here in the office of Perch Rock. Tom Neely, Dante Zapata. What's going on, fellas?
Morning. Doing good. Good morning.
Very good. Dante's right behind me. Tom is over there. Let's get this started. But before we start, Tom, we started off the same way. Why do we do this podcast?
What is our why? Our why is the same every week. It's basically providing a platform for guys that are coming out of the game, getting into the business world. This is a specific podcast and business model being real estate, but many walks of life, guys are struggling with that transition when they're done playing. So we came up with this 3-4 years ago to essentially create an outlet for guys to see that there is life after hockey. It is not about going to the rink every day anymore, and you are able to create a new identity for yourself, all within marketing and networking with guys around the country in different markets. And this is a very special episode because we're keeping it in-house today. I thought it was a good spin on things to kind of give a bird's eye view of a guy that had a really long career, and then eventually made the transition. And instead of asking what he's doing, we know what he's doing because we see him every day, and we know the type of person he is and the opportunity that he has ran with. And I thought it'd be a cool idea to kind of give an inside look on what we're doing here and what we've created. So thanks for carving the time out. I will talk to you in 2 minutes when this podcast is over, and we'll got some other stuff going on. So Zaps, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for carving the time. We'll let you get back on the phones after this, so I promise won't be long.
I appreciate it. I'm very happy to be here. This is exciting. This is good stuff.
All right. Another thing that's pretty cool is we had Dante's head coach at Utica on this podcast, and he was the one that gave Dante rave reviews. So Dante, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you actually found your way here in Cheshire, Connecticut?
Yeah. I mean, we want to start all the way from the beginning or just kind of how I got.
Hey, nobody knows you, bro. Let's go. Nobody knows you.
Well, how we recruited you, what we did, how we came to fruition. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it all started kind of, I graduated college, went and played a little bit of pro here, and I was moving around a little bit from team to team. Started off a little bit in the coast, got dropped there, went to the SB, changed teams, and I was enjoying the year, having a good time with it. Finally fulfilling that dream of playing professional hockey and getting paid to play was an awesome thing. Nevertheless, just kind of right after Christmas time, I got a call from my head coach because we had talked. He was asking me if I wanted to play another year. I had let him know. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I want it. I kind of want to step out of the game, but I just don't know what to do. I was in that no man's land of, like Tom had said, you run into those moments where you're like, I don't know what the next step is. And I had a finance degree, economics and stuff. I'm like, okay, should I go the finance route? Should I, I always loved real estate. So I'm like, down the line, maybe I want to get into that, but I don't really know how to get into it. Coach calls me and he says, hey, I got this opportunity for you. I think this would be great. You should see if this is something that'll work. They had reached out to me. I think this would be a great fit for you. It outlines exactly who you are. And he just talked to me a little bit about what he had known about your company. And I'm like, all right, great. Let's set up an interview with JT. We set up an interview. We had a chat for 20, 30 minutes. He gave me the rundown, talked a little bit. I was like, wow, this seems great. I want to get into it and learn a little bit more. Had another chat with Adam on a Zoom call, talked with him a little bit, and then flew out for a visit. And that was the first time I had met you, Bob. Tom wasn't actually here at that time. He was out of town, but it'd have been nice to meet him in the moment, but shot him a text too. And I had a great visit, got to see the culture, and just learned a lot in one day. I mean, honestly, one day being here on a in-house visit was incredible. And I was kind of like, you know what, this is an opportunity that it's one of those types of businesses where you eat what you kill. And I liked that about it, because that's just how I'm driven. My mindset is to, put on the work boots and get it done. And I was like, you know what, I'm not the best at anything, but what I can do is show up, and I'll always do that. So I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot and let's fly out here. And that's really how it was. I uprooted everything, moved all my stuff, flew to Minnesota, picked up a bunch of, because I'm originally from Minnesota, picked up a bunch of stuff there, got a trailer, then drove out, and we're on our way. Started in August 5th.
Yep. Which is absolutely cool, because you and Tom are very, very, you guys have a kind of a profile that's very similar. You guys are extremely hardworking. You have an internal drive where, you don't have to motivate you every day, which I think is a kind of a trait that a lot of hockey players have. I just came from an event down in Tampa, and my buddy, a guy by the name of Dean Rogers, played in the NFL for a bit, but he was the same exact way. He's self-motivated. He loves working with other athletes. He's out in California, so he does very similar stuff, that we do. But we had a conversation about why athletes compared to, non-athletes, and what their internal drive is. So really, really cool. I know, Tom, you got a bunch of questions. Shoot.
If you didn't tell me, I would think you were going on like a college visit. You were called up to the coast or something like that. You're coming here, you got an apartment set up already. It's almost like you're still playing. You're just not going to the rink every day, right?
Yeah, pretty much, brother.
The reason I say that is because, and I laugh, is because that's what we're trying to create, and kind of the whole big picture of just how we recruited you. You flew home, you packed your stuff, you moved to a city that you've never been before, and you walked into an office with a group of guys that all have similar backgrounds. So I remember what it was like, where you didn't know what you were going to do when you were done playing. So if we can kind of create or emulate almost the same type of lifestyle that the three of us went through for the last 20 years, it makes the transition a lot easier. So I hope you picked up on that. It's not by coincidence. So but that being said, you played for a little bit. At what point did you know that you didn't want to play a very long time, and you were kind of in that mindset of it's time to take the next step? Was it in college, or did you kind of go through the whole minor league experience and then realize that it is time, or was it early on during school where you kind of knew that you didn't want to do this for a very long time?
Hey, Tom, we also want to add, he had a pretty good college career. So you put up points, All-American, exactly. So you went that route knowing that you could 100% play in Europe, because we could play. I went through the same thing. Tom went through the same thing. Tried to make the NHL, didn't work out. Boom, off to Europe. So you could have gone through that same route. So I just want to add to that, Tom, because we didn't go over his stats. He was a pretty freaking good college hockey player. So
I didn't know he was an All-American, so I learned something new about him today. So that's crazy. Yeah, it's actually shocking that you kind of didn't hold on longer than you did. So let's touch on that and the mindset and when you started thinking about the next step.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Early in college, my freshman, sophomore year, even into my junior year, I kind of had that mindset of I did want to play a little bit longer. And then I don't know, senior year came around, and I'll be honest, I just had a bad taste in my mouth from losing to UNE in the Elite Eight. I'll be honest with you, and I don't know. We lost 2 years in a row to them, and I kind of was like, man, I didn't have that internal drive anymore. And I'm like, I want to make money, and, wanted to help support everyone in my family. And I always told my parents, my grandparents, sisters, everyone, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna kill it one of these days. I'm gonna, whatever. And so for me, this opportunity arose just coincidentally after playing, and I knew I was only going to probably play 1 year just because I wanted to at least touch the ice on a professional sheet and get paid. If I would have tore it up my first year, maybe I would have tried to play one more. But I think what happens is if you don't have that internal drive and you step on the ice, it's you're just not going to be the same player, regardless of it. You're always going to show up every day and you're going to grind. But if it's not something that you're showing up to the rink and you're like, this is the only thing I want to do. I found that when I started playing pro early on, after the first month or two, it wasn't the only thing I wanted to do. I had other things in my mind of, I want to find a way to make money. I want to start something else. So it was pretty early on for that transition, to say the least.
Yeah, it's interesting because that feeling, right? When you get that feeling, it's one of those things where you can't explain it. It's just a feeling when you get to the rink. Even in the summertime, starts in the summer because that's when we really got to work our asses off to get back in and get ready for the season. I remember I had that same feeling towards the end. I'm like, all right, now I know it's coming to an end. It's just, and I think guys like that that listen to this podcast, understand what that feeling is. I know, Tom, you talked about it as well, but let's take a step back, Dante. Talk a little bit about your upbringing, right? Because, we have a lot of individuals that have, different backgrounds. I was blue collar, Tom was blue collar. So walk us through a little bit what, how that was and where you grew up, et cetera.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Minnesota, state of hockey. I mean, it's everywhere. When my early ages, I didn't actually play hockey. I grew up in Maplewood, Minnesota. I lived right next to my grandparents. My grandparents and parents actually had houses literally right next door to each other. So it was great. Real tight family kind of ordeal. And I grew up playing football, baseball, every other sport you could think of, and not hockey. And then when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I don't know, for some reason, I think just saw a bunch of people playing hockey, my neighbors and stuff like that. And everyone I knew played. And I was like, Mom, I want to try this thing. I want to play hockey. So nevertheless, strapped on the boots and went out to the Roseville Ice Arena. It's like a big outdoor rink there in Minnesota, and just started practicing skating. And then the next thing you know, I fell in love with the game and dedicated, 17, 18 years of my life to the game. I was there until I was in Minnesota playing, youth and AAA, summer league, all this stuff until I was about 15. And then my family uprooted and moved to California. So parents moved out to California when I was about 15. And I had that decision of, do I play and pursue high school hockey in Minnesota? Because high school hockey in Minnesota is great, very elite, a lot of talent, a lot of people go places from Minnesota high school hockey. Or do I go the AAA route and play travel? So I was kind of in that dilemma of what to do. one of the big issues was with Minnesota, you have to live and reside in the city that you play or like near it. So that was one of the issues. So I was gonna, live with my grandparents and maybe go high school route, but then long story short, I ended up going AAA. Played a little bit of AAA. Played for the Green Bay Gamblers U16. Played there for a year. Then I went to the Skipjacks for a little bit, and I was like, I want to move over to a little closer to California. So I played for the Arizona Bobcats, and then from there, I ended up signing a tender after that season. It was my first year U18, so I was junior in high school, and I signed with Austin Bruins in the Null, and went and played 3 years there. Had an absolutely amazing time. It was awesome, great program, great coaching staff, great group of guys there. Amazing town, amazing fans. I have nothing but good things to say about that organization. Played 3 years there, and then moved on to Utica. So that's a little bit about my upbringing, but
Pretty cool. So your parents moved out there for work, or what did they move out there for?
yeah. So my mom, she got a new job at a new healthcare company. It was Molina Healthcare. She got a new job, and we uprooted out to California. So
Nice. Any real estate background in your family?
no, nothing.
Cool. Love it.
Nothing.
So it's funny. Tom and I talk about this all the time. It's almost better that you do not have real estate background when you jump into our business. It's pretty cool because, Tom didn't have any real estate background. I had hardly any, and I've been doing this for 21 years. My father was a contractor, but I was more of a gopher. He'd put a broom in my hand and say, "Hey, broom this job up," or, go get nails here, go get stuff here. So never taught me the business on the contracting side, but it's pretty interesting how, Tom, I know you can elaborate that coming in this business, not having any background in real estate is actually a very good thing.
Well, I think for our side of the business, it's definitely a plus to be green, because you could come in here like I did, like Dante did, and just be told what to do and essentially start from the ground up and just have a whole different perspective on how this whole thing works. I want to fast forward to where you're at today, because the jumps that you've made since August are a testament to you, testament to your work ethic, your character. And just like when we played, you go to a new team, and sometimes it's a good fit, sometimes it's not a good fit, and sometimes you succeed and sometimes you get held back. Let's chat on the opportunity that was presented to you and what you've done with it. And let's talk about your day-to-day. Let's talk about what you've learned, kind of what your role is with the company. I think that's huge for guys to hear, because we are always looking to bring on new people. And I think, you jumping into, because when you were originally going to be AC, and then it shifted over to Dispo, correct? So
Yep.
let's touch on that a little bit. What's your day-to-day like right now? What's your routine? You still doing the hockey thing in the morning, go to the gym, cold tub, come here? What are you doing? What do you got going on? And what's your day like these days?
Yeah, I mean, day to day now for me is just wake up in the mornings, try to get a workout in usually, and then back to I don't eat breakfast, so I'm not a big breakfast person. So I'll do that, and I'll get back to the house, gather my things, take a nice shower, get ready to go, get into the office, and it's just run and gun. So I'm selling the deals over here. So when I first got here, it was going to be acquisition. I was here for 2 days, and then an opportunity opened up on Dispo to sell some deals, and we all kind of sat down for a quick meeting about it. And I'm like, hey, I'll do anything you throw my way. Just let me know, and I'm ready. So I'm actually extremely grateful for that opportunity and that it popped up. And the thing with disposition and selling, it's a little bit different than acquisition, as we all know. I hopped into it really knowing nothing, and had a lot of people helping me out, pointing me in the right direction. And yeah, it's been it's been a ride. I've learned so much over these past 8 months. It's night and day from when I first started. I remember when I first started, I mean, I'm looking at just a real estate contract and I'm like, what, like, where do I even put the signature boxes? So like it was definitely fast paced. The one thing that I learned the most about real estate that I didn't really understand was or is how to deal with people, and how there's so many different types of people and personalities out there, and you have to kind of mold and maneuver into to create a good relationship with people, right? I think having good relationships and having transparency with sellers, buyers, whatever it is, it's huge for any type of real estate, but especially our business.
So let me ask you a question on top of that. What would you say the biggest traits are for someone coming into a new organization? What do you think they should have?
Yeah, I would say you just have to. You got to have thicker skin, first of all, right? I mean, it's a tough business. It's not easy. Not everyone can do it. I mean, I know. I mean, I Tom could be a testament. I get frustrated all the time. I'm a hothead myself, but I think if you can just take a step back and control your emotions and know that you trust the process, just like we all when we played, right? It's about trusting the process. The proof is in the pudding. If you show up every single day and you're the kind of person that is willing to put in work and get no rewards for months on end when you first start, and then the fruits of your labor start to trickle on, you know, you'll succeed. But you have to understand that when you start off in this business, you're going to know nothing. You're going to learn a lot of things very fast. You're going to have to think on your toes. You're going to have to be willing to roll with the punches. And you got to know that, hey, maybe you won't be successful for a month, to first 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Who knows? But eventually you will if you stay persistent. I think persistency is probably what I'm getting at, is the biggest thing. Persistency.
And I'll add to that coachability, because I could tell you,
Yeah.
Dante you are extremely coachable. You're always asking questions. So if anyone, wants to look at that, being coachable, having thick skin, controlling emotions. I mean, this business is definitely controlling emotions. And I think that's a lot of stuff that we've learned from our coaches growing up and the teams that we play with. Because if we run on emotions, we're in the penalty box all the time, we're going to hurt our team. So we have no choice but to control those, because for the greater good of the office, that we're all on a team. We look at real estate as a team sport. It's not a single, a solo team or a solo kind of a sport. It's a team sport. All three of us have to work together to accomplish, right, a transaction going to the end. So that was a very, very good point. Tom, what else you got? You're on mute, dude.
Sorry. I think it was great. I think we've touched on a lot of good topics, and this industry, which people don't really understand, is that you make more money working together. If you think about us three right now, you've got lead gen to acquisition to selling the deals. It's like we're all eating on one transaction, and without each other, we're not able to be successful. That's honestly the way I look at it. That's, everybody's pulling a rope in some different way or form. And just like in sports, each guy on a team has a different role to get an end result. What I wanted to touch on, I think you're a great person to ask this to, is kind of identity. I think the hardest thing after guys retire is, and we touch on this with every episode, from guys from the SP all the way to the Olympics, NHL, is recreating that identity. What do you see, yourself as now that you're no longer Dante Zapata, the hockey player, and how has that transition been for you mentally to essentially become an individual in the business world and be successful?
Yeah, the way I look at it now is I tried to mold my mindset for hockey directly into the business. So as a hockey player, I guess I was a very you know, just played a hard, heavy game. I wasn't super flashy. I wasn't the most skilled. I wasn't the best skater. Um, a lot of things I wasn't good at, but I just kind of I would grind. I'd put the work boots on and I would come to the office every single day. I'd be in the gym. I was doing extra. I was that was the kind of player I was, and I tried to bring that to the business world. Um, and for me, the way I look at it in my mold in the business world is every day I wake up, the only I can't go to sleep at night sometimes because all I can think about is the deals that are going on. It's so it's an amazing thing because I've finally gotten to that point where all I can think about is this deal and this transaction and what's going on here and how can I get more here and how can I do better at this, and I'm always trying to refine my process, get better at it, and I have a lot of holes and a lot of things to work on, that's for sure. But um, I think if I'm always trying to get better at what I'm doing and learning from everyone, I mean, ultimately, it's only going to help myself and help
We got holes
everyone
in our
around me.
game. We got holes in our game. We watch video. We get back in the
Yep.
gym. We get back at practice, and we continue growing and working on it.
That's preparation for the game. Preparation, so you're
All
preparing.
it is.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome.
Cool. Tom, I know we're coming up to the top of the 30-minute hour, so I think any last questions you got?
No, I'm good. I think we touched on everything. I think we hit on everything that we wanted to talk about. Like I said, I think this was a cool perspective, doing something internally for guys out there to see. And we appreciate you, man. And I'll see you in 5 minutes at lunch.
Sweet.
Thank you.
All right,
I appreciate it. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
brother. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.